Last night's messages carry more weight than we realize. They hold fragments of vulnerability that reveal our truest feelings when our guards are down. Sometimes, the texts you sent last night are the unfiltered reflections of your heart's deepest desires, uncensored by rational thought. What if those messages hold the answers to the questions you're too afraid to ask? The truth can be found in the words you typed without overthinking. In the light of day, those messages might seem impulsive, but they often reflect the unspoken emotions we're struggling to say out loud. The texts you sent last night are echoes of your inner world, whispers of what your heart feels when your mind steps aside. Last night's words are the raw version of us, daring to reveal the feelings we've been carefully hiding. Those late night texts are more than just words. They're the bold expressions of emotions we bury in the daylight. Messages sent in the stillness of the night often expose parts of us that we keep tucked away in the daylight. When we're caught up in the moment, our texts become an open book to our soul, showing what we often try to deny or ignore. Sometimes it's the words we say in the heat of the moment that reveal what's been building up for so long. We text in bursts of emotion, hoping the receiver can feel the intensity of our words, even if we wouldn't say them face to face. Those texts might have been spontaneous, but they capture the real, unguarded us, the version we sometimes hide. When you're free of the constraints of second guessing, you send words that truly mean something deep. The truth we share in a text, in that brief moment of courage, is the truth we keep trying to live down. Nighttime confessions sent in mere texts. They're glimpses into a heart unbound by the limitations of pride. Our late night words are like windows, letting someone peek into the deeper parts of our soul. Messages we send without inhibition are pure. They show who we really are when we stop overthinking. Sometimes the truest words are sent with a touch of fear, wondering if they'll ever be fully understood. Our nighttime messages are reflections of unspoken yearnings, sometimes too intense to face in the daylight. When emotions run high, the words we send are the clearest expressions of our truest thoughts. Your heart's whisper can often be heard in a text sent in the quiet of the night. With every word sent, there's a part of us that's afraid but hopeful the receiver will understand its depth. The truth behind those texts, their unspoken wishes disguised as late-night confessions. Late-night words are unfiltered, and they're often the most genuine pieces of truth we can offer. Texts sent in the heat of emotion are often truer than those carefully constructed with logic. What's behind last night's words? The courage to say what we feel without fearing how it sounds. In a text sent without hesitation lies the hidden truth of our inner thoughts. What we say at night often speaks to the heart, free from the limits of what's acceptable or safe. In a message sent when the heart races, there's a hint of honesty we're afraid to embrace by day. Sometimes the truth slips out in fragments, hidden in the messages we send without restraint. There's something pure in saying what we feel, even if only for a fleeting moment in a text. Behind last night's texts, a glimpse into what we feel but often don't want to admit. The raw truth behind last night's texts is the part of ourselves that desires connection in its most honest form. When words flow freely, they're less a message and more a reflection of the heart's true pulse. Those messages hold parts of us we might never show in daylight, but can't keep hidden when emotions rise. Sometimes, our messages reveal the stories we're scared to speak in person, but feel safe sharing in text. The truth behind the texts. They're the confessions we make when our guard is down, hoping to be seen. When you're lost in a moment, the words you send are pieces of your truth longing to be understood. There's a beauty in the vulnerability of words sent at night. They're the whispers of a heart unshielded. Our nighttime messages reflect the thoughts we hold close, but are too afraid to fully claim. Texts sent in the midnight hour are like confessions we're too shy to make when fully awake. In those late night words lies the truth of what we're scared to say out loud, but brave enough to text. A single text can carry the weight of unsaid emotions, hidden desires, and bold truths. Sometimes it's in our unfiltered messages that our truest selves speak out, hoping someone will understand. The messages you send in the stillness of night, they're fragments of your soul, momentarily freed. Last night's texts might seem reckless, but they're the expressions of feelings we've held inside for too long. When you say what's on your heart without fear of consequence, the words often hold a deeper meaning. There's a hidden vulnerability in messages sent in the heat of the moment, raw and unrefined. Those late night words are less a confession and more an unveiling of what our heart truly wants. Sometimes the words we send in haste are the truest version of ourselves, free from filters. When we hit send in the late hours, we're sending a piece of ourselves, hoping it's received with understanding. Behind every word lies the hidden hope that someone will see through it to the feelings beneath. A text can be a doorway to our truest self, a place where we're free to say what we really feel. The truth behind those texts, they're whispers of the heart, unguarded by doubt and raw in their honesty. When words slip out, they reveal a version of us we might not recognize in the daylight. Messages sent on impulse carry the weight of truths we're sometimes too afraid to face. Last night's words are the barest reflection of what we feel but don't often say. A message sent without second thoughts is a rare gift of honesty in a world of guarded words. In a moment of impulsiveness, we let our true thoughts shine through, hoping they'll be seen and understood. Behind those texts lies the truth of our feelings, sometimes hidden even from ourselves, but revealed in the quiet of night. The words you sent last night might be the only time you truly spoke from the heart, without fear or hesitation. Late night texts often reveal our deepest fears and desires, things we wouldn't say in the harsh light of day. When we send messages in the quiet of the night, we're sometimes sending pieces of our soul, hoping they reach the right person. The truth behind last night's messages is that they're a confession, a vulnerable moment where we let our guard down. Messages sent at night often carry a weight we didn't intend, filled with emotions that didn't have a place in the daylight. What we type in the dark hours may be more revealing than we think, speaking truths we're not ready to admit during the day. Those late night texts, they're not just words on a screen, they're feelings unspoken, thoughts unfiltered. The texts sent in the quiet of the night often hold the deepest truths, unpolished, raw, and unafraid. What if the real message you sent last night wasn't in the words, but in the vulnerability they carried? Late night texts aren't just messages. They're windows into the hidden emotions we're too scared to face when the sun rises. Last night's words were the echo of a heart that couldn't wait any longer to be heard, no matter the consequences. The truth behind those messages, they were moments of courage where you let your emotions spill freely into the digital world. When we text without thinking, we sometimes send the truest, most honest version of ourselves, raw and unrefined. Those impulsive late-night messages are like confessions, whispered in the dark, hoping they'll be understood. The truth lies in the spaces between the words, where your heart speaks louder than your mind ever could. What you text at night often reflects what you're unwilling to face during the day, a truth you try to bury in the light. In the stillness of the night, the messages you send might just be the clearest expression of what you truly need. Last night's words hold the power of honesty, even if they were born from a moment of fleeting emotion. Those late night texts carry more meaning than we often realize. They're unfiltered, raw, and untamed.